Greetings, everyone. I'm Dr. Mary Bassett. I served as New York City's Health Commissioner between 2014 and 2018, and I'm the incoming New York State Health Commissioner. And today I'm delighted to join you as we celebrate 100 years of neighborhood health, bricks and mortar neighborhood health in the New York City Health Department. I thought I would both talk about why I think neighborhood health is such an important strategy and how I came to it myself. I learned about district health in the small Southern African country of Zimbabwe, where I lived and worked for nearly 20 years before I returned to join the New York City Health Department in 2002. And there, clinical services and public health were all under a district health doctor. And so they were always integrated. And when I came back to New York, I wanted to see if that idea had relevance. And that's where I discovered that New York City had a tradition dating back to right after World War I of brick and mortar buildings. What I learned is that this idea is enduring. It survives. It has ups and downs, but it has survived. And the reason for that is at least twofold. One is that communities need a presence of public health in their neighborhoods. That's always there, not one that comes and goes, sort of like field workers. And two, that as we've learned during COVID, community trust, something that we can't measure, that's not really countable, is dependent on having a face of public health in the communities that need it the most. And that's why when I came back to New York, we decided to invest in the idea that the programs which are the most costly, meaning that they involve the most intensive commitment of personnel, should be delivered in particular neighborhoods that needed them the most. And those included the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Center. And we have proceeded to do that and build a presence of neighborhood health, which you all are working on today. They knew then when they got started with this idea, right after a really brutal war, World War I, that we not only need more money to be invested in communities, then an immigrant community as it is today, East Harlem was, but we also need better alignment, better coordination, and who better than the health department to coordinate the many inputs that people need: housing, nutritious food, not only health services to be healthy. I hope that all sounds familiar because it continues to guide the idea of neighborhood health today. So have a wonderful day, a century and counting. Thank you. Greetings, everyone. I'm Dr. Mary Bassett. I served as New York City's Health Commissioner between 2014 and 2018, and I'm the incoming New York State Health Commissioner. And today I'm delighted to join you as we celebrate 100 years of neighborhood health, bricks and mortar neighborhood health in the New York City Health Department. I thought I would both talk about why I think neighborhood health is such an important strategy and how I came to it myself. I learned about district health in the small Southern African country of Zimbabwe, where I lived and worked for nearly 20 years before I returned to join the New York City Health Department in 2002. And there, clinical services and public health were all under
Welcome everybody to the 100-year celebration. We are honored to get to celebrate together. Dr. Maybank's going to offer some opening remarks, and then we're going to get into the celebration.
Thank you, Dr. Morse. Good evening, everyone. I know it's like bare, but just need a little energy. It's a celebration. Let's go. Woo! That's right. Let's go. All right. Well, it's really awesome to be here. Awesome to be amongst people who I have valued and treasured, who have had my back, and I have hopefully had theirs over the years. Dr. Bedell, where are you? Is she still here? She's way in the back. You know, that was my colleague and partner for a really long time, and I always have to acknowledge her. and her leadership. Neighborhood health, I started this work in 2009 in my early 30s, which I'm not anymore. But the honor of it, and I think Dr. Bassett was saying part of this too, is the ability to be able to touch not only the people who live here, but different agencies and different levels of work and ideas of work that people do in a way that you can't when you're like in some other isolated space. And I think the beauty of what it did for us was really to help us grow individually, as well as professionally. And I see Angel back there, because I remember her in one of my early meetings here in Harlem, and the beauty of her holding me accountable for my leadership and what we were going to do here in this work. And what we have to remember about this neighborhood health work, especially for us as government folks, is that it is about the people. It's about the voices, it's the stories and the narratives and the truths that they have for what their experiences have been for hundreds of years. And how are we going to be as accountable as we can as government to hear those truths and to do something differently, to acknowledge those truths and to do better. And then to make sure that we are holding others accountable to do the same. I remember my experience when the J. Marion Sims statue came down. And yeah, that's right, clap for that, because that was the advocacy of so many of you in this room for years, and then also other folks within the context of government. But when I was standing there was a woman who ran by who, was in the neighborhood for years. And she stopped and she paused and she said, I run here every single day. And I never thought that this would ever happen. And the trauma that I feel every single day, and to have this structure literally be removed away and dismantled, was something that she never dreamed of. And she just turned and she's like, can I have a hug? And it's that affirming moment and those moments that I always remember, and that we all must always remember, especially us in the government side. I'm not in government anymore, but I'm in this large other kind of poster child of racial justice organization. It's the truth. And so we always have to remember that historical context, but the importance of voices and the historical context and elevating and centering those voices, ideas, and people in all the work that we do. And so to me, that's what neighborhood health is about. It is about the coordination, but to me, it's about the centering of voices and ideas, hearts, minds, and spirits. So really, congratulations. I'm so excited for the leadership of Dr. Michelle Morse, who is a friend and colleague. And I see you looking at me. I value and love you very much, but really excited for the leadership moving forward in this next phase of neighborhood health. So thank you all. Have a wonderful night. I probably won't be able to stay the whole night, but have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maybank. Huge appreciation also for Dr. Bassett, who kicked off the evening. My name is Dr. Michelle Morse. I'm the Chief Medical Officer for the New York City Health Department and also the Deputy Commissioner for the Center for Health Equity and Community Wellness. Welcome again to 100 years of neighborhood health and healing, a century. I want to also say a huge thank you to all of the staff and partners who are here this evening and the whole Harlem community for hosting us for this event. I want to say that this is a momentous celebration, and it's a marker and it's a reason for us to pause and reflect. And I'm sure many of you are feeling the same way that I am. There are not enough moments to pause and reflect in our current era in this pandemic. And this is one of the moments to do it. So thank you for being here in person and online to take that moment to take a deep breath, pause, and reflect on a century of this commitment. So I actually first heard about the history of the Action Centers in September 2018 at a workshop where Dr. Bassett, Dr. Maybank, and many of you and many others were present to really talk about narrative change and how that gets us to advance health equity and public health. And what I remember most about first learning about the Action Center model in that moment is that it's about place-based investments, that it's about co-location of partners, and perhaps biggest vision of all is that this is infrastructure for health equity. And the infrastructure is not any infrastructure, right? Yes, it's a brick and mortar building, but even more than that, it's about raising the visibility of inequities and then leveraging resources to address the sources of those inequities. So in my opinion, the Action Center model really is the embodiment of how we acknowledge history of oppression and current oppression, including structural racism and many others. And it's also about how we repair those inequities. So acknowledgement and repair. And I think we also have to acknowledge that we have to go even further, and that these first 100 years are just the beginning of this model. So it's clearer than ever in this moment of COVID that solutions to inequity are social and structural change. It's the policies, it's the resources, it's the decisions, and the action centers are a vehicle for making those changes. I was reading about the history of the Action Center back to 1921, when this particular Action Center in East Harlem was first opened. And there's a report that looked at the first 10 years of that model. And at that time, it was an era just after World War I. They didn't even know that World War II was going to happen. And they were really looking at models to address that crisis. There was a commissioner at that time named Dr. Shirley Wynn, who was the commissioner of the health department. And she talked about this model as a model that is centered around local leadership and place-based investments. Interestingly, in that 10-year report, the areas that they were focused on are going to sound very familiar. They were looking at infant mortality. They were looking at early childhood health. They were looking at cancer, heart disease, and tuberculosis. They were looking at coordination of schools and other health services. And they were, of course, looking at how to get public health messages out to the community. As I said, it sounds familiar, and yet we have to commit to another 100 years and beyond of doing this kind of work. So a lot has changed since 1921, and a lot has also stayed the same. But more than ever, I think it's really important for us to double down on our commitment to this kind of infrastructure. And it's also important for us to continue to commit to raising the visibility of the injustices that lead to health inequities and continuing to put resources towards the communities that we know deserve them. So with that, I have the honor of introducing our first spoken word performance of the evening. Already, I think you'll be very excited about this particular artist who is kicking us off. Her name is Aja Monet. And Aja is an award-winning poet, storyteller, and organizer who herself actually was born and raised in New York City. She follows, of course, the legacy and tradition of poets who participate in and assemble social movements. Her first collection of poetry that was recently published, in fact, a friend of mine gifted it to me a few months ago, so it's pretty amazing to actually get to see Aja Monet be here with us in person after having just read her collection of poetry. And that collection is called My Mother Was a Freedom Fighter. That's right. Aja Monet is also working on her next collection, which is entitled Florida Water, and we're looking forward to seeing that released at the time it's supposed to be. So I'll pass it over to Aja Monet.
Thank you. Does this work? Oh, it does. No, you have to use the mic. I have to use the mic? Dang. Okay. Maybe. Yeah, a little bit. Thank you. I'll put it here. Hi, good afternoon, evening, everyone. I'm on West Coast time now, so I'm really honored to be in person, reading again. I just want to name the elephant in the room. It's a whole panorama still, and we got to go through several degrees of checks and balances to be able to be with each other, which is a little annoying, but it's, I hope that it changes and shifts how we show up for one another with intention and care and awareness and consent, and knowing that we need each other's consent in order to essentially gather, you know? And I think the way that we were moving before was not very aware of that. So the first poem I'm gonna read is a short poem. I'm gonna read another short poem, and then I'm gonna read another poem. And I wanted to name that, you know, mental health is like really a big thing in the Black community. It's a conversation we don't often have, and our communities don't often have spaces to go. And I think sometimes we feel like it's a personal issue. It's an issue that you alone are struggling with. And I pray that the pandemic, if anything, showed us that we are all struggling with this society and the way that this society has run forever, and how that impacts our interior worlds, how that impacts who we are. The poets and the artists and the griots, they're the people that delve into that interior world. They're the people that are on the front lines of the interior world, struggling to make sense and give purpose and meaning to what it is that we grapple with as human beings, why we're here and what we're here to do and how we love each other. And so I want to, the first poem, it's a short poem. It's called Hello, Harlem. Hello, Harlem, honey of my horizon, an honest hue of horns and hips, haunted by hell-raising lovers and livers, where the shoe shines and the sun steps, skipping heartbeats drenched in dreams, drizzled over children and elders, a cosmic swing. Hello, hello, Harlem, the rhythm of our remembering, poems tossed in the portal of our blues, and sweet, sweet, sweet song of firescapes and front stoops. Hello, hello, Harlem, hello, honey of my hue. This next poem is very short. It's called Solidarity. And any of the change that we want to see in the world has to come from a concerted effort towards solidarity. Solidarity is, your smile is my smile, your hurt is my hurt, your laughter is my laughter, your tears are my tears, your tired arms are my tired arms too, your weary feet are my feet, this breath, this breath, this breath, this breath is ours, is our breath. This heart is ours. It's how we share. And this last poem is a poem it was the first poem I wrote in quarantine, and it made me think about how we care for each other. What does it mean to be considered, looked after, thought of, tucked in, held, or wondered about, attended to, regarded as deserving of want or need, never alone in arms, another belonging, a heart horizon wide to friend, a ship with sails, harness the wind, lean and lay where a wound dreams, not a weapon or trigger to pull or peel. Pain. Pain is a rattlesnake whispering sweet nothings of forever, the end gazing back at you. Care. Care is a voice with hands, trembling courage, a hold letting go. Here is a sip of love, warm and unspeakable music, opens a chest, clears a throat like herbal tea, homemade breath crossing lung to lung, sharing air like a kiss, soft cough drop soothing shame like the rhythm of uncontrollable laughter. When you are sick, it is the gentle gestures of grace. It is a song in the thick of grief. It is a lightened load of laundry falling heavy on a shoulder. Care is a room full of listening. Care is familiar and thankless. While people hoard their nothingness, lounging in despair, the earth cleanses itself of greed and cancer clinging to her bones. Uncertainty rocks us to sleep, mouthing words of prayerless tomorrows, clutching pearls of market-driven identity, work-filled and empty. Everyone's chasing shadows on a conference call or in an email, but care is knocking on your door like abuelita waiting online for food stamps. Care has mouths to feed, wastes no words, is deliberate, and knows tomorrow is not promised. The way the ground carries your feet is a care. Or how the dishes don't wash themselves. Care is inconvenient and intentional, like poetry pouring out anyway. Thank you all. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I pray we don't go back to normal and that we do things differently. Give it up for yourselves for being here.
One more time for the poetry goddess that is Aja Monet. I'm gonna put this little thing on here so I can take my mask off. Hello, my name is Caridad de la Luz, and I'm better known as La Bruja. Yes, and I'm so happy to be here representing for Urban Word and for the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center. From what I saw, all the programs for the residents, for the newborn initiatives, breastfeeding and home visits and crib and car seat giving and faith-based initiatives, fantastic. Thank you so much. So I come out of the New Eurekan Poets Cafe. I am a New Eurekan. And I have been performing at the cafe for 25 years now. And now I am on the board of the New Eurekan Poets Cafe. Right. To make sure that the New Eurekan history and legacy continues in good hands. So I'm gonna start off with a poem before we get into the youth poets and also an open micer that's submitted. I started my career on an open mic, so I still host open mics. And I just love it. Poetry is part of healing. I love the fact that, you know, we express ourselves and we create the narrative for the world to live into. And part of being a poet and an activist for me is dismantling white supremacy. So this is called Soul of a Nation. Black is the original color of man. To honor thyself is to honor that. And though the truth is attacked, the further you go back, the answer is still black. Colorado is Spanish for red and Nevada for snowing. Our native names like Texas, Kansas, Wyoming. Tennessee is rooted in Creek and Cherokee. Real American history is worth knowing. Some may think Kentucky is American as apple pie. It's actually the apple of its eye. Kentucky is a word in Iroquois, which means land of tomorrow, and tomorrow has arrived. Our history lives in the languages. 250 years before English was spoken here, lips were split for speaking First Nation dialects, colonized by one and enslaved by the other, stripped of the words for love of another. Our generation is made of both the enslaver and the enslaved. So within our own blood, peace must be made. The American ideology is to work toward unity. After all, united is what these states are called. The disgrace is that racism is just another word for hatred, and the agenda is to oppress those with melanated faces. And love is the only cure for it to be replaced with. Embracing every life living is how humanity will awaken. So we're gonna keep it going, keep it flowing. Our first youth poet from Urban Word is Queens born, 2019 Youth Poet Laureate of New York City and Miss Tobago Heritage Personality Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, Cameron Bruno.
Hi, Harlem is a butt, But I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me. My poem today is going to be highlighting the importance, even though I am young, of those who came before me, because if not, we probably would not be here. And I think it's really important for us to have the idea and the ideation of where we come from and understanding that our youth are very important and we are going to be the ones to take it over, okay? Yeah. When you look at a body like mine's, what do you see? Look carefully as you see the representation of the many genes that came before me. Look at me in awe. Do you see how my organs and limbs work in harmony? How my lungs hold the responsibility of giving voice? And don't we all know about being voice and loud and strong? This poem is proof of scripture, like how I am proof of scripture. So when you look at a body like mine's, know that our bodies are a social structure of many souls, and isn't that just the truth? So look at me in awe and marvel at the creation the civil rights movement created. Do you know what takes place when the body moves or is moved to make movements, how these bones crack into submission? Some were born to be leaders, so they easily became the face of a movement. But it takes more than a pretty face to create change. Know that a head can only stand if a neck was held high, thanks to the backbone that was instilled. Never forget the women and the organs that we use like instruments, like vocal cords. Some heroes might be unsung, but that doesn't mean that the story wasn't written. Never forget our woman who can hold an entire human in her stomach. Best believe her decisions are superior. Our muscles strong enough to hold space, and our joints that made 54 miles possible. So when you walk today, fear not of the steps you want made, but the outline on the ground where your shoe fits. No, this foot heavy, knees locked, one after the other. They fought bills after the other. They walked miles after the other, under the hour with the power. Know that some organs can't survive without the rest. And that's what support looks like. So never be afraid to stand your ground. Use the indentations already there in the ground to guide you. Know that there are many souls and souls bristled and bruised, but their faith never broken, never slept, never died for nothing. So you turn your sacrifice into singing, another tear into triumph, the testimony that you get to live by, engraved in the skin that looks just like yours. So strive to be the person you see in the mirror. And look at your body and see how powerful it is. And just like your body, you should know that when many things work in harmony, there's bound to be success, physical and mental integrity, life and safety, protection from discrimination, from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. Know that you are protected. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna wipe the mic down because I was told to do that. So now, oh, let me do this, do this. Our second youth poet, Bangladesh born, climate advocate, was on the Urban Word Slam team, was a youth poet laureate finalist, and is currently completing her Bachelor in Science. Ladies and gentlemen, Ariana Khan.
Hi. So I'm going to keep this short. This is a poem called Map about where I'm from and what I'm looking for. And I just want to echo what everyone said about community and historical context and how we would not be here without a lot of dope people before us. Ask me where I'm from and I'll send you a Spotify playlist. Sing you songs in a map you cannot delete. Point you to my mother's garden, which refused to grow in flood and pollution. Show you my lungs, scared of stealing more air than my brother. Born to the fight we tremble, tire ourselves in loss over a land that floods despite language that was taken, in voices we never got. Wake up in misplaced identities on days where even the sun feels cursed. My brother and I, we come from a warm people who grow gardens, feed indiscriminate bellies, who drench in kindness and sweat in colonized labor, to swamp to save centimeters on a broken map. We only have that map. When our Spotify glitches, we talk to our mother about home, about our father, about the map we'll hold close when she is gone, except the map will be gone too, long before us, long before we make mistakes or conquer the sky. Every day we live a death we did not choose, which is to say, this death was chosen by people who know maps, who refuse themselves garden and pretend it is not for us all, who overextend welcome to woe. We can read as well as we listen, my brother and I. Substitute maps for glove. Our brains light up with each syllable, emanating Dhaka and New York City and all the places the diaspora slips through camouflage. When you turn a people to concrete, they will conjure cracks. We crack every day. Sometimes we code switch to exodus, scream in our displacement, in search for certainty. We had earth once too, and then we didn't. We had tongue once too, and then we didn't. But it cannot end here, in generational grievance. We have voice, and if this voice drowns, let it not be in flood. Let it be in community and growth, something worthy of a Spotify playlist. Let it be home. Thank you.
So there is a live message from the current leadership, Dr. Torien Easterling.
Good evening. Am I on camera? You got me? You got me. All right. I know I'm a little tall. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. But I'll be quick. It's a pleasure. Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I'm Dr. Torien Easterling. I had the pleasure of serving as the Assistant Commissioner for first the Brooklyn District Public Health Office, then the Brooklyn Neighborhood Health Action Center from 2015 until 2019. But then I currently serve as the first Deputy Commissioner and the Chief Equity Officer for the Health Department. And the message that I just wanted to share today was really about the work of not only the action centers, but really about this idea of elevating health equity in our agency. I came into the health department at a time when we were really advancing the formation of how the agency was going to really organize and operationalize an equity agenda. And so the action centers became an anchor in the neighborhoods, the way in which we solidified our place-based work. But it wasn't just about the key investments in the neighborhoods that we worked in. It was also about using our data in an intentional way, telling stories as we are today. Also thinking about the partnerships, and those partnerships in a way in which we can not only think about community partners and faith-based organizations, but our agencies as well, who also had the resources to really bring them into the neighborhoods and do something different. And then it was also really important a framing. The language that we think is important, not only naming structural racism, but really talking about how we could move from structural racism into a way in which we could address it and dismantle it. And those are the structures and systems that we know perpetuate how racism impacts health outcomes. I say all of that to say, because we're doing that work today. And so kudos to a lot of you who are in the room, and many of you who are no longer in this room, but have impacted this work for generations, because this is intergenerational work. We're talking about now an agency that has expanded their place-based work in a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, right? We have had to respond to this pandemic in enormous ways. Not only this building itself, but all across the city. We have used our place-based work to bring testing, to bring vaccines, and certainly to bring our staff. And that was always something really important for our former commissioner, Dr. Bassett, to figure out ways in which we can bring our staff into the neighborhoods that needed us most. And so I'm proud and humbled to continue this legacy of 100 years of neighborhood health, of healing, of wellness, and I'm certainly really inspired about what the opportunities are going into the next administration, and certainly many of you who are still at this agency who will have an impact on the staff to come. And I think what our charge is to take this crisis, as Grace Lee Broggs always talked about, that every crisis, whether it's actual or impending, is an opportunity for profound change. And that's our charge for today. Thank you very much.
And now I would like to bring up to the microphone a poet, a singer, and the person that actually called on me to be here today, so I'm very grateful for that, Executive Director of Urban Word, ladies and gentlemen, Chanel Gabriel.
I feel far from everyone. Yes, so one of the ways that I connected to this lovely event was through Crystal Edwards, who is absolutely brilliant and who's worked so hard on all of the details of putting this together. So please give a round of applause to Crystal Edwards. You saw her running around like getting everything together, and I just want to thank you for always thinking of Urban Word and partnering. Before I even became in this role, Crystal knew me as a poet and an artist, and I still perform, which is why I love my job, because it just affords me the opportunity to work with young people and to continue performing. I'm going to share a poem called Aim High, and this poem is kind of my call to action to all of us that are dreaming and reimagining the world that we live in the spaces that we're in, and knowing that the call is literally to aim high, and the hook goes, aim high, shoot far, Aim for the moon. If you miss, you'll hit a star. I just want to encourage everyone here to keep dreaming, keep believing in the future and the opportunities that we want to offer others, and in anything that you are passionate about. This piece is for you. Aim high, shoot far, aim for the moon. If you miss, you'll hit a star. Aim high, then you shoot far. Just aim for the moon. If you miss, you'll hit a star. And it's easier to want things than to get them. Most people have dreams, but they never manifest them. Pressure makes diamonds. You have to mine if you want to come out shining. And dreams mean nothing if they leave when eyelids flutter open. Empires weren't built from just wishing and hoping. See, doors won't always open. Opportunities may pass, ships may sail, but you have control of the mast. And this is your sea. This is your sky. It's your destiny. Let no one break your concentration. If they got that tunnel vision, let them stay in their mental train stations, because success, it's a journey, it's not a destination. You need to have that patience, that drive to make your passions come alive, and you alone can decide how far you will go, and God gave you his divine ability. Believe in speaking into being. See before actually seeing. Give your life meaning. Vision, keep on dreaming, don't ever let it die. Don't be the eagle that never knew he could fly, and I apologize for making it sound painless. See, it's a long process, I must confess, and you don't know what faith is. You give something your all without a sign of the next step, the next nap, the next check, the next meal, no indication of a record deal. See, I know how it feels to struggle. Life's troubles, feeling stuck, feeling like a Mini Cooper up against an armored truck. When problems pile in your life, it makes it easier to climb, because when you conquer them, you'll be standing high. I know so many people failed because they failed to realize how close they were to success when they decided to no longer try. See, our ancestors died, and many of our parents gave their lives to making sure we had the means to become anything we dared to dream. Nothing worth having comes easy. That's why the road to the top can be so lonely, but see, it's only temporary. They say success is never ending. Failure, it's never final. You got something inside you that's special. Don't ever let it die. Don't be that eagle that never knew that he could fly. I'ma switch it up, y'all. Aim high, and then you shoot far. Just aim for the moon. If you miss, you'll hit a star. Aim high, and then you shoot far. Just aim for the moon. If you miss, you'll hit a star. We're in Harlem. But if you ain't moving mountains, you better kick rocks. Dropping from the south to the Harlem blocks. Astronomical track, I got it locked. If you ain't in this constellation, no conversation. My head's a little puffy, can't lock up my shine, can't deny. What I do is simply divine. I'm about my business. You can't compete. Even my teeth have my work ethic. They grind in my sleep. I'm a flawed individual, flesh battling spiritual, trying to speak miracles with limited funds. Been working till the moon becomes the sun. Building like a carpenter, we've only just begun. And record label said I wasn't cute enough. My national success wasn't proof enough. So they signed a model girl, and wouldn't you know, she had a baby and called off all the shows. It's hard to see folk with less talent than you. They're making bigger moves with a massive crew, but this ain't show and tell, this is show and prove. I'm proof. Nothing's ever handed to you. Been missing birthdays and family events because your out-of-town show has to pay your rent. Before you got a check, it's already spent. My lupus flared up. My mom's a cancer patient. My mom's a cancer patient. Rest in peace, she was a cancer patient. Bad things happen. That's how it works out, but applause is the closest thing I got to a handout. It's about putting fate into your own hands. It's about putting fate into your own hands, manifesting God's plan. So I aim high, and then I shoot far. I aim for the moon. If I miss, I'll hit a star. Aim high, and then you shoot far. Just aim for the moon. If you miss, you'll hit a star. Thank you so much. And if you would like to learn more, If you'd like to learn more about Urban Word NYC, please, it's an organization that supports all young, these are just a couple of so many young people that have come through our organization and found their voice and found their purpose and their passions. Aja is actually an alum of the program. I met Aja when she was a baby Aja, and she's a grown-up adult Aja, excuse me. Excuse my language. But just want to say, if you want to learn more about the work that we're doing, especially with the New York City Youth Poet Laureate program that we host and run, visit urbanwordnyc.org or visit urbanword.org, excuse me. And thank you so much.
Okay. Amazing. Okay. We're trying to run a tight ship. We're supposed to be done by 7:30, so I just want to let you know that the exit has changed. If you leave, don't come in the way you came. You're going to exit here and make a right, and that will be the exit for everyone tonight. Okay, so next we have a live message from CBO co-located partner from Smart University, Susan Rodriguez.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for asking me to be here tonight. I'm Susan Rodriguez. I started SMART here in East Harlem 24 years ago with a group of women living with HIV and AIDS. And being here in the Action Center has been a monumental journey for us. And first of all, I'd like to give special thanks to Dr. Bassett for having the vision to turn this building into a safe haven for community-based organizations to work together alongside with DOH. Your vision has enabled our small organization, SMART, to grow and flourish these past 5.5 years. Being a co-located partner in this building has opened the door for us to become more creative and innovative. But more importantly, this has also become our home. From building our mobile kitchen to showcasing our smoothie bike in front of the building, we have been able to physically grow our organization in a stable, nurturing environment. Our scope of services has vastly expanded, allowing us to better meet the real needs of our community and participants. We've been able to dream more, and our dreams have turned into realities. With all the changes we have faced for the past 1.5 years, our reality now sparks new dreams. As we continue to strengthen our partnership with DOH, our other co-located partners and community, I know that the best is yet to come. Thank you so much.
And there is an open mic portion, and one poet submitted for this open mic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michelle George. Yes, no, yes. Are they here? It's loud. Oh, let me get out of the way.
Peace. I'm Michelle George from Brooklyn, and I'm pleased to share a word with you today about stigma, mental health stigma, and how it sometimes keeps the people that we love from getting the help that they need, and also how it keeps us from seeing them for who they truly are. Stigma. If stigma were an acronym, it would stand for shaming the innate greatness Peace. I'm Michelle George from Brooklyn, and I'm pleased to share a word with you today about stigma, mental health stigma, and how it sometimes keeps the people that we love from getting the help that they need. An acronym. Peace. I'm Michelle George from Brooklyn, and I'm pleased to share a word with you today about stigma, mental health stigma, and how it sometimes keeps the people that we love from getting the help that they need.
And I don't know if anybody in here is an in-the-closet poet, but I do recommend that you keep a journal and write your thoughts down. There's no machine that exists that can do that. Only you can do that by writing it down. Don't sleep on your own magic and what it is that you have to say. It really does heal the heart. Keep going. Well, the rest pretty much are video messages. So, does that mean that it's a close? You do have, I'm sorry, what? Oh, I'm ready to open the mic. I live for that. You want to come up real quick and close out? Come on up, why not? Is that okay? Can we do that? Is that all right? What's your name? My name is Kimberly Smith. Kimberly Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
I stayed here since 9 o'clock this morning, so I did.
You've earned your spot.
Exactly. and I only just want to say congratulations actually to the Action Center, to this building, because I'm 51 years old and this building has been here all my life and a part of my life. It's even more such a part of my life than when I was young. I got vaccinated here, like years ago, people, and that's not a joke. There was no controversy, it was no news episodes, it was just what we did to protect our children from, life, just to grow up and know that they would be healthy. Even though, as unfortunate as it is now, like Dr. Morse said earlier, this building is still serving the same functions. We are still taking care of babies. We are still taking care of our communities. We are still taking care of each other and ourselves. Like, when I walk in the building and I see NYCID, like, that's where I used to get my WIC from, my milk, to feed me, right? This building deserves 100 years, 100 more, and I just wanted to say that thank you to the people that run the building, Jaime, Padmore, he's not here. I also work in this building, y'all. I've come in this building, I've got counseling, I've got healing, I've got turkeys, everything I need in this building. So this is 100 years, a good, safe community place, and we are gonna always continue for the health equity of our people and to keep each other together and stay strong in this building. So congratulations, Action Center, and everybody that make it possible. And thank y'all for letting me speak. And wait, your poets, y'all was magical, very inspirational. It was nice to see y'all.
Thank you so much. Okay, and now a video message from Dr. Jane Bedell.
In 2003, when I was interviewed by Dr. Mary Bassett, Coke McCord, Adam Carpati, Andy Goodman, later Dr. Tom Frieden, they laid out their vision for understanding how health and advocacy are both connected to community and neighborhoods and building local power. I helped lead a fantastic team in the Bronx who worked on this for many, many, many years. And for those who come after us, I say,
and now another video message from the current leadership, Padmore, Ewell, and Anita. I do wish East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center another 100 years of reducing health disparity in our broad city. Bring them up. Thank the urban word poets. We do have another streamed compilation video. From current and past staff. And thank you so much. It was an honor and a pleasure. Again, my name is Caridad de la Luz, better known as La Bruja. And it's been an honor to be here.
Everyone, shout out to Brooklyn, the Bronx, and of course Harlem. Congratulations on 100 years of neighborhood health, centered in equity in action and service. Salute to all of the neighborhood health leaders, both past and present. It's through our collective efforts, working with our partners and community residents, we have really seen the impact in the neighborhoods we serve. I'm hoping one day we'll see that Queens Action Center. We're working on it, y'all. I am truly proud and honored to be a part of this legacy.
Happy anniversary! Sending you so much love. It's Keisha White here. You know, I started off in the East and Central Harlem District Public Health Office in 2008 and had an amazing time working on the ground with, you know, parents, youth, educators, advocates, public health practitioners, all the amazing work that happens. There's nothing like working at the action centers, nothing like working at the district public health offices, and the work continues to be amazing. I'm so grateful to have had that opportunity. I'm sending you all so much love. Congratulations and happy anniversary.
Congratulations on the legacy of 100 years. I'm so happy for all of you guys. Go out and celebrate, and thank you for all the hard and superior work you've done over the years and will continue to do. Congratulations.
Hola, mi nombre es Candida Vidó. I'm Candida Vidó. I work at the Bronx. Well, we started with the Bronx District Public Health Office, which is now the Bronx Bureau of Health Office. And I am so proud to have been part of this joyride with the District Public Health Offices, you know, taking care of the health of our community, where we play, where we work, where we live. You know, I'm a community-minded person, and I just want to say congratulations, felicidades.
Happy anniversary to the Action Centers. 100 years. What an amazing legacy you've built. I'm glad to have been a part of it.
Congratulations to all who contributed to 100 years of Action Center DPHO legacy. Happy to have been a part of this.
Wow, 100 years of working in neighborhoods, 100 years of serving New Yorkers and helping them to live their healthiest lives. I am honored to be a part of this legacy.
On behalf of the Shop Healthy NYC team, we are proud to be part of the Neighborhood Health Action Centers, which builds on the 100-year legacy of New York City's District Health Center movement.
It's a privilege to be a part of this 100-year celebration of neighborhood service and health. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Happy 100 years to the legacy of the Neighborhood Health Action Center, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
Congratulations on 100 years of action for a healthier New York City.
Happy 100-year anniversary to the Health Action Centers, formerly known as the District Health Centers. Congratulations and happy to be part of the legacy.
Hi everyone, shout out to Brooklyn, the Bronx, and of course Harlem. Congratulations on 100 years of neighborhood health, centered in equity in action and service. Salute to all of the neighborhood health leaders, both past and present. It's through our collective efforts, working with our partners and community residents, we have really seen an impact in the neighborhoods we serve. I'm hoping one day we'll see that Queens Action Center. Keep working on it, y'all. I am truly proud and honored to be a part of this legacy.
Happy anniversary! Sending you so much love. It's Keisha White here. You know, I started off in the East and Central Harlem District Public Health Office in 2008 and had an amazing time working on the ground with, you know, parents, youth, educators, advocates.
Good evening. Thank you for being with us to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the legacy of the Action Centers. It's important to recognize those who made this possible. So first and foremost, I want to thank Dr. Mary Bassett, who had the vision and fortitude to relaunch the Action Centers during her tenure as Commissioner of Health. But also I want to recognize those founding public health professionals of the Center for Health Equity. I would like to thank Dr. Aletha Maybank for the tireless work and effort that she put in to launching SHED. But also a special thank you to Dr. Easterling for giving me the opportunity to be in this space and learn so much about the importance of health inequities and how they resulted from systemic racism and how we continue to do place-based work in order to address those health disparities and inequities. But also, I want to give a big thank you to some former colleagues who were instrumental in this work and in doing great work, not only in Harlem, but also in the Bronx. So thank you to Dr. Noel Maniendo and Dr. Jane Bedell. But then also my thought partners, Darren Taylor, LaShawn Brown Dudley, and Debbie Lomax, who were instrumental in launching the Center for Health Equity, but also, again, instrumental in helping us create dynamic public health work that is still benefiting the communities that we serve down to this day. But also my Brooklyn team. Without those dynamic public health professionals, I would not be able to come to work every day and face the daunting challenges that we faced, especially the past year with COVID-19, and that we will continue to face as we move forward and do dynamic work around maternal health and COVID-19 recovery. So thank you. So I don't want to go on too long. So I just want to say thank you to all of you again who joined us, the poets, the speakers. And I would like to hand this over to my current colleague, Padmore John, who is serving currently as the Acting Assistant Commissioner for the Bureau of Harlem Neighborhood Health. Thank you.
Well said, Yul. Thank you so much. During our time here with our partners who are co-located within the building or our partners who are outside, we have had the opportunity to do so much good work. And that's a testament to the strength and belief that we have in each other and to the recognition that so much needs to be done in the help of our community. We have grown together, we have learned together, and we have known how to help each other in ways that we could never have thought about. I think one of the biggest things that we have been able to do was to really face diversity head on, and that made us stronger. That made us able to get together, to support each other, to learn from each other, and to put our heads together and figure out a good way of getting out of this problem. We've had to do that many times, and we continue to do that. It's been 100 years since the inception of the concept of the Action Center. They have changed in terminology and name and ideology over time, but I think ultimately it has always been about how can we as an agency, together with dedicated partners, continue to help our communities. And that's what we are concerned about. That's where we continue to give all of our strength and power to. And we look to be able to do this for another 100 years. It won't be me, it won't be any of the others that's around here today, but we want to leave a legacy of being able to overcome the challenges of racism, the legacy, the negative impact of that on our communities, and how we can change that around, change behaviors of those who have decided that this is the best way for us to move forward at the expense of others. How can we be more inclusive? How can we be more diverse? And how can we celebrate the voices of those who have not been heard over this time? Thank you for being here as part of our celebration. We look forward to seeing you come through our doors over the weeks, months, and years ahead, and we move forward together in solidarity. All the best and take care.